now we're going to officially start the webinar. So hello everyone, my name is Lex. I'm a founder of Entrepreneur Networks of Erasmus Mundus Association. And today we are very happy to welcome Saverio, one of entrepreneurs, student entrepreneurs from Erasmus Mundus program. And so just want to briefly introduce about Entrepreneur Networks. So Entrepreneur Network, it is a network that connect and nurturing future entrepreneurs. So we help students, alumni that want to be entrepreneurs, and then we connect them with the real entrepreneurs, and then we try to help them try to realize their ideas from idea stage into a before they can become a real enterprise. So without further ado, no, sorry. Before that, I would just want to let you all know about the housekeeping. So this webinar will be recorded and sent to each of you after the webinar is completed. And please feel free to ask any questions during the webinar at the chat box and the right bottom corner of the screen. And we will answer all the questions that you have at the end of the webinars. So please feel free to add any questions, whatever you feel free you want to edit, okay? And yeah, I think let's give the floor to Saverio. So Saverio, he founded Horus Technologies and currently raising fund, right? Seed fund, right?
Yeah, we are actually in the final part of the due diligence with some investor.
Yeah. So I will let Saverio talk about his company and himself. And yeah, Saverio, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Alex, for the introduction.
Yeah.
I start again with the screen sharing.
Yeah.
Okay, it should be working.
Yes.
But I'll start with an introduction about myself. As Lex said, I'm both a student as an entrepreneur. My studies are now in my last semester of my Erasmus Mundus in Advanced Robotics master program. Before I've been studying biomedical engineering in Italy at University of Genova. Then I moved to France to complete my master, and now I'm a visiting student at the PFL in Switzerland. And during my first year of master, I founded Horus Technology together with some friends. I don't like to keep spending a lot of time talking about myself, so I'll be speaking about Horus and what I've been learning during the last year. By the way, I'm Italian and I'm 25 years old, in case anybody is interested in that. So everything starts from a problem that maybe not everybody is aware of. There are a lot of people that are blind or visually impaired in the world. There are 285 million. That number, unfortunately, is going to grow due to the fact that the population is getting older overall, and we don't see many of them around because many people are afraid to go out because they feel they are more vulnerable and they cannot defend themselves. They're not self-confident at all. So here you can see just a brief, how can I say, sneak peek about what I'm going to talk about. But I will first start from how everything started. As I told you, my background is in robotics. I actually been developing vision systems for robots, for making them navigate only using information from their virtual eyes. But one day, with one of my colleagues, I met a blind person who needed help to reach the bus stop because there was a detour and he couldn't find his way. And during that meeting, that was really brief, like 5 minutes, he explained us how he uses the corners of the buildings to understand where he is in the city and to find his way. And counting the corners of a building to localize yourself is something that I never thought it was even possible and hard at all. And from that day, we thought that maybe it was better to use our knowledge and our skills to develop something that could improve the life of people with disabilities instead of giving sight robots. And we started working on it as a personal project. It was not yet, we didn't have the idea of becoming a company or something. Also because we were full-time students. But we talked about our idea to a lot of people. We got very nice feedback. So we decided to build a prototype and to bring it further. And here you can see the first prototype. There is a bit of delay when I change the slide, but I'll try to synchronize my voice with it. It was, as you can see, something that you had to some cameras that you had to attach to glasses, and his name was Horus, which comes from the Egyptian god, Falcon god, actually, the Falcon god from the Egyptian religion. And those cameras had the goal of empowering people that cannot see to recognize faces, to recognize objects. One second, someone is asking me how to watch the webinar. Lex, can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
Okay, if you can, if you've seen the name, you can send
Where is
him
this
the
from,
link
huh?
to the webinar.
Where is this message from? I can't see the message here.
You cannot? Okay, that's better. It means it's not sharing my messages. One second that I share the link of the webinar to a friend of mine. In the meantime, if you want to ask any question, I've seen someone is late.
Yeah, no problem.
I can make a brief.
Because
what?
No problem. This webinar will be recorded, so each of you will have the recording of this webinar if you miss some part of it. So do not worry.
Okay. Okay, getting back to the presentation, the goal of those cameras that were attached to glasses was to see the world around, process the video feed from the cameras, and then provide some knowledge about what was being perceived by the cameras to the user. Some of the features we have been working on are face recognition, object recognition, text reading, and navigation assistance. With face recognition, I mean recognizing some people that are friends of ours or family members, so we can teach the device to recognize a face, and then from that moment on, it will be able to recognize them. But also describing people in pictures, people we don't know. So you can say that there are 3 girls, 2 boys in the picture, everybody's smiling. Some is blonde, the estimated age, this kind of description. Then object recognition, it has a database of common objects like a can of soda or a bottle of water, but it can also learn new objects. So it's possible to take an object, put it in front of the device, rotate it, and give it a name. And from that moment on, the device is able to recognize that object. So it's possible to ask is there a lot of water on the shelf, and the device is going to answer, giving information on where the bottle is. Text reading. And this is actually the feature that is most interesting to all the clients to be, because it accommodates the needs of both completely blind and vision impaired people. And for this, we have thought of implementing something that can both create printed text, very big signs, and also handwritten text. Well, for the navigation system, it's something like detection of crosswalks or zebra crossing, depending on whether you speak British English or American English. Then obstacle avoidance, because even if they use a cane, it's not possible to detect obstacles that are at their waist or little bit higher. And like detection of the light of the traffic light. In general, this kind of help that usually is provided by guide dogs or assistants. Everything happened really fast, I think in 5 months, and I was still studying, so I think we went quite fast, and it was possible to grants. As students, we didn't have money to invest in our company, unfortunately, just time. But we applied to many acceleration programs and European programs to get equity-free funding. We won a lot of prizes, luckily, and that allowed us to buy the equipment and to cover all the expenses also for travel and for doing market research, and in general all the expenses that you can imagine a startup has to cover in the first months of its life. Lately, at the beginning of 2015, we also ran a crowdfunding campaign on the crowdfunding portal of our startup accelerator. It was really successful. We reached 154% of our goal. We were not pre-selling our device, so it was not like a regular crowdfunding campaign where basically you are selling your device for less money to get funding to produce it. We decided, given that we work in a market that is for visually impaired, in general for people with disabilities, we thought that it would be good to raise awareness to sighted people about the troubles and the difficulties that blind people have to feel every day. So some of the perks we were giving were like braille stamped cards, so with a guide to learn how to read braille, or it was blindfolded dinners, which are dinners where you have blind waiters that give you food while you are blindfolded, and you need to be able to eat the whole dinner without seeing what you are eating. Or blind dancing courses, or a blind concert. In general, some activities that could let people understand the difficulties that blind people have to face every day. And we got all the funding. We needed to start the testing and to improve our prototype. And if you remember the first prototype I'm showing you, which is attached to glasses, here you see how it is now. This is a 3D rendering, but this is actually how it is now. You have also seen it at the beginning of the presentation, were worn by a girl. We changed a lot of the design in order not to have to wear glasses. Now it works like some sportive earphones. It uses bone conduction so that we don't impair the hearing of the user. It passes behind the head, and so it's much lighter. It provides us with stereo audio, stereo vision, and with a much more comfortable design. This is an actual prototype. It's a little bit, two prototypes actually on the table. It's a little bit more bulky than the design I showed you right before, but that's on purpose because we want to keep it cheap until we reach the final production stage. Everything is patent pending, and this is something that is quite important if you want to raise funding. Maybe you, when you start, you don't think patenting it when there is no real money or market involved at the beginning, it's not worth it. But that's actually the best investment you can make, because at least in Italy, it's something around 2,000 euros, including the attorney. But then I can tell you that every investor, even if they don't understand technology, if they agree that there is a patent pending, then they get more interested. Even if the patent is just on the cable of your device, that's still something. Some other features of the device that works as a personal assistant are voice commands. You can imagine a Siri that has the ability of seeing around, and you can ask questions and it gives you the answer. It doesn't require glasses, so it's universal. But it still works if you have glasses. It passes above the glass, and you can still wear it. Using the bone conduction system, it doesn't impair the hearing. For people who don't know how bone conduction works, it's like having an headphone that touches the head, and the sound is conducting through the bone and doesn't pass through the air, so the ear remains free. Everything, all the computation is done locally. It doesn't require an internet connection, but still you can use it. We thought that trying to give more independence to people, but having them tethered to the internet would not make them more independent. It would make them dependent on the internet. It adapts to the user, learning things and features regarding the life of each one of them. This was made possible also thanks to the many partnerships we started during the last year with universities like University of Genova, with some European program like Fireware and Fish, with co-working spaces that didn't make us pay for having an office, from the European Institute of Technology, and also thanks to blind and visually impaired associations like RP, Liguria, and Italian Blind Union. That was really, really important to validate the impact that we would have on the final client. We decided, in fact, to co-create our product with the final user. In fact, it's really hard if you're not one user to reach the product market fit. But if you create the product from the very beginning together with the final user, having them try and give you feedback during the whole process of creating the device, it gives you an advantage. Is that when you reach the final stage, then you have already iterated a lot and made something that they really want. Finally, the impact that we realized we were going to have is not just the blind people who get more independent. It's also on their families. It's also on their families that don't have to worry as much as they do now. It's also for the industry, because then people can have jobs with more responsibilities. And it's also in general for the society, because if blind people can get more integrated in the society, then everybody can benefit from it. I didn't do this all alone with the grants and with the partners. Our team is much bigger than this. For example, Luca that you can see in the picture here is my co-founder, is the guy I mentioned, the story of reaching the bus stop with a blind person. Then there is Benedetta, which is in charge of business development and making partnership with blind and visually impaired union and associations. And those are the people who started working with me with no salary from the beginning, working day and night, really believing in the goal of changing the life of a lot of millions of people. And then lately, we also hired, the presentation really screwed up. Alessandro, which is the one on the left, Simone and Martina. They are all technical people, software developer or designers. And they came on board at the beginning of this year when we got funding to pay salaries, but they really believe in our project. We are a very tight team. And I think we can make the difference working together. And I think that most of the value of a company or a project is inside the people that work together to make it happen. We also have, with our partnership with the University of Genova, two scientific advisors. They were really helpful in making us aware of the state of the art in the field we were working. And I think that we have a great team. The team is greater than the actual idea of changing the life of the people that are going to be our clients. And that's one of the points we are going to discuss. That's one of the points we are going to discuss in the second part of the webinar. So to conclude, this is where we started and where we are going. We started at the beginning of 2014. We expect to reach the market in 2016. As Lex said, we are now fundraising. We are in the last phase of the due diligence with an American investor for $800,000. And that would empower us to reach the market, to make the production, and to conquer more markets than we were expecting before. And here come the lessons I have learned during the last year. As a student entrepreneur, I don't really sleep much because I am supposed to be both a full-time worker and a full-time student. So I work during nights or during weekends, and so do Luca and Benedetta. And that's something that you can do not only if you are only aiming at becoming rich. You really have to believe in the idea and in the project you are running. So if you want to start a business just to earn some money, then probably you should not start a company where you're a student just to earn money. You should really be passionate about what you're doing. And here we go. First lesson is talk a lot about your idea. If you had the idea, you're probably smarter than the people who would like to copy it. If not, then sooner or later would have failed in any case. So as soon as you have a good idea which can be explain it to the other people, get the feedback, improve your idea. And if they're interested, try to involve them and maybe be your co-founders or your first employees. If you don't speak about your idea, you don't see the downsides of it, you don't see the problems, you don't see how to improve it. So don't be afraid of people stealing your idea. Ideas cannot be protected, they cannot be patented. So and if someone is smart enough to realize to make your idea an actual product, try to bring him on board instead of fighting him. Second lesson is don't be greedy with the team. I know you can have the idea, you'd like to have the 100% of the shares, but if someone is foolish enough to get on board with you without having a salary and investing all his time and all his time for the project, then give them shares. They'd be happier to work. Give them a good salary, give them a good working environment, give them possibilities to grow professionally and from the educational point of view, and everybody is going to be happier. And while for everybody else, just be greedy. I mean, if you receive a first offer from an investor which doesn't satisfy you, you are probably going to get other offers that are better. So don't be afraid of saying no. You don't want to have an investor that is just going to screw you on board from the beginning. And help each other in the team. Being an entrepreneur is like a roller coaster. There are a lot of downsides. There are a lot of happy moments, but you cannot work just when you're happy. You need to work all the time with the same passion. So it's really important to help your teammate. Sorry guys for the animations, it keeps on moving. I think it's one of the troubles we had when we were uploading it. So help each other, try to make the others happy as you are when they are down, and try to let them help you when you are down. As a student, you probably don't have previous experience in entrepreneurship. You haven't not started a company yet. So you probably need mentors and advisors, and you need to pay them either in shares or in money. Don't be greedy also with them, and accept the feedback and the advices from people who are more experienced than you are. Don't be too much egoistic. Try every chance you have for grants and to accelerator. You probably don't want to start with VC funding or with some very big business angel, because you are a student, you probably cannot give them the commitment they want. So apply to every accelerator, every grant, every incubator, anything that can give you funding to start a company. But at the same time, if some proposal doesn't satisfy you, we get back to be greedy with everybody that's out of the team. So also be able to say no. If you win something, you can also win something else. And also don't say that one day you will start a business when you will have time, because that's probably the best moment now. Because if you fail, then you're not losing years of your life. When you graduate, you can still, you haven't lost any year. You can start a PhD. If you fail, you can do anything without having lost anything. And you probably have a scholarship if you are an Erasmus Mundus student. So you can also work without salary for quite a while, giving it more advantages compared to other people. Now I think I can start answering any question. You can make new questions that was not done before. And thank you a lot for listening to me.
Yeah, thank you so much, Saverio.
So first question is, what's an entrepreneur? For me, an entrepreneur is someone who is eager for creating something of his own, either it's a business or a product, and it is willing to risk a lot to do so. And this can be not skipping all the parties while you're a student. It can be refusing a job that gives you a good salary for working on your company. I think everything is about being able to sacrifice, to make some sacrifices, and to risk in order to make your dream come true. That's my view of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, maybe I can add 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 a bit more about what is entrepreneurs. Yeah, so as Saverio said, that's right, but there are actually quite many definitions that how people define entrepreneurs. So entrepreneur is a person that create new products, and like Saverio, new products that can be impactful to the world, either anyone in the world, like Saverio try to make some impact on helping blind people, and also it is a very high risk. It's a very high risk and doing in a very unconventional way, of like not a very like I like in the business, like in the corporate world, you usually spend a lot of time just to plan the business before you really put it into the market. But for entrepreneurs, they make the product prototypes and then make it as fast as possible. As you see Saverio, that what his timeline to this for his journey, and it is quite fast compared to corporate world. Yeah. So yeah. So let's take a look at the second questions.
The second question is if there were such devices before. Sort of. There are some university projects, but they require you to have a backpack with a computer inside. There is one which is our main competitor, which is made by an Israeli company, which is very, very similar, but it has a lot of downsides that we are trying to solve. For example, I say the name so you can check their website. The name of the product is ORCAM, ORCAM, and they target only visually impaired people because the person who uses it is required to point with their finger at the thing they want to get information about. And of course, you can imagine that if you're completely blind, or if you cannot distinguish between things, it's really hard to point at things. While we are solving that problem, making something that doesn't require you to point at anything, and it doesn't. It does it in a better way because we don't require people to wear glasses while they do. We will provide a better user interface using stereo audio while they don't, and we also aim at a lower price. So now that I'm talking about the price, I will also answer one of the next questions about the price and when it will be available on the market by Farhan. And we expect the price to be like almost half the price of our competitor. It will mainly depend on the issues we will face in production. So I cannot really make any promise about the price, but it will be low enough to empower everybody in any market to buy it. While for the timeline, it's going to be available in Europe in 2016, in the US at the beginning of 2017, and then the rest of the world right after. Then next question. What were the challenges that we faced during the crowdfunding? I think that main one was that there is not really a culture about crowdfunding in Italy, like it's in the US probably. So it was quite hard to reach people and convince them to contribute to our cause. They wanted to pay us in cash or making a bank transfer, which was not possible. We were only accepting PayPal. So our problem was that in our country, people were not ready to use crowdfunding campaigns. And another problem was that people usually, the crowdfunding campaigns work really, really well for consumer products, for leisure products. People want to, they like to invest like 50 euros or dollars to get the last gadget. It doesn't really work for more expensive products that solve problems with people that are actually a niche. They are not a big market. So that was one of the main problems. Thanks to Benedetta that organized a lot of offline events, we still managed to spread the word, and we also managed to get a lot of donations from outside Italy, and like we managed to get something from Japan, from France, and from the UK. So part of that was really helpful to overcome the I can say ignorance about this technology platform that affects our country. And one thing that I think made the difference is the fact that what I see with crowdfunding campaigns is that during the first 1 or 2 weeks, they don't reach the goal, people stop working on it. They lose all the hopes they had of reaching their goal, and they don't keep on pushing and keep on working. While we did it till the end, I think that we managed to reach the goal a couple of weeks before the end, and after that we managed to get another like 50% of the goal. So it paid off, but it was really hard to keep on believing till the end that we could make it. So persistence and trying to do things in a non-conventional way, I think, made a difference to in our success.
Congratulations.
Then there is Maria, if I'm reading correctly the name, that asks, how do I choose the people I work with, and how I manage my time as a student? The people, honestly, at the beginning, I didn't really make a big selection for the team because I mentioned briefly, we were not our goal to make a company. It was just our personal project. So we were not really thinking of all the possible issues that could come with with members of the team. While for the new hires, we had quite a long selection process for each one of them. We first we have looked with we have looked for the basic knowledge we would require. So for the developers it was C++ programming, which is really basic. We didn't require any image processing background because that can be learned during the first months in the company. But so we didn't put high threshold for the skills, not the tech skills at least. Still, we took a lot of time investigating whether they could fit well in the environment we created. So whether they were able to work remotely for a period of time, whether they were willing to really put they were really believing in the project, not just for the salary. So it was more about how do you feel working with that person. And I remember a story, like a brief story of someone telling me that you should hire someone only if you're willing to spend to do intercontinental flight 12 hours together with him without wanting to kill him. So you really have to feel like you want to stay in the office for 8 hours or 10 hours a day with that person, or like dealing with him all the time, even more than you deal with your girlfriend or your family. So it's more about how do you feel with those people. While how I manage my time as a student, I mentioned it briefly as well. I said I don't really sleep much. Like there have been periods during the crowdfunding campaign or at the beginning of the fundraising with investors where I would sleep like 4 or 5 hours a day, every day. So there was no rest day, no weekend, nothing. I was lucky enough that while I was in Italy, I was quite free of skipping lectures, so that allowed me to concentrate more time, to manage my time more efficiently. Then there was the summer, so I was free to do whatever I wanted. While the semester before this one, I had more troubles managing my time, and I had to thank a lot my teammates who were like doing some of what I was supposed to do during my lectures. So it's really hard to manage time while you are a full-time student and an entrepreneur at the same time. And the only thing that can help is having someone you can trust. So maybe your co-founder doesn't have your same schedule, and that can cover you while you are doing the lectures. So that's the only thing you can do. No worries, Maria. I think that a lot of people have joined during the last part, so they missed those, and I'm happy to repeat them and elaborate a little bit more. Then, if I don't really know how to say your name, but yes, Jasly Jose or Chose. Sorry if I made some mistakes. Yes, we have plans of expanding our product in terms of features, and those, for example, are creating a sort of shared knowledge in the cloud between different devices in order to improve the features of each one of them. So, for example, if you can learn something regarding a city, so if there has been a detour, or if there is some point of interest that can be of interest to everybody, and you can share it with all the other people in the same area, then and that's something that I think would be very useful. Or even allowing the user to get remote assistance through the internet from someone else who is sighted. I think that those would be very interesting features, and we are willing to incorporate them in the near future. What is my opinion of doing business with friends or family? I have a strong opinion that it's better not to do business with friends and family. If it's for getting some money from friends and family, and it's not a big amount of money, then that's fine. But I think that I like to keep my professional life separated from my personal life, because then I can keep the problems away from my personal relationship with my families and friends and girlfriends. So I'd rather not do it. And it's also really hard to, like, if you are the employer and one of your employees is a friend of yours, that can cause problems with the other employees, because every time you do something good for your relative, then they might think that they didn't earn it. It was just because they were your relative, even if that's not true. So, or if there is a dispute between two employees, and one of yours is, or one of them is one of your friends or family member, then it can be hard to solve it without looking like that you are having preferences for your friend. So I'd rather not do it. So glad to know that I spelled your name right. And thank you all of you for the good lucks compliment and congrats.
So Saverio, I have a question in my mind right now, and at some point in the presentation, you talk about don't be greedy to your team. Mm-hmm. So you probably talk about the
shares
you talk
and
about the shares of the So how you manage, and when you started to talk to your co-founders, your team, and how you manage that?
Actually, we started talking about it at the very beginning, because if you don't do it, then people can create some expectations that might be wrong. So it's better to decide it from the very beginning how to split the work and shares. So, and like, I will not disclose exactly how we split them. But like in my case, I have no real advantage compared to my co-founders in terms of shares, because I knew that I needed someone else to cover for me while I was at lectures, and I wanted someone to really feel, I wanted them to really feel the project was also theirs, not just mine. So I decided to give up on some more shares to motivate them more and to thank them for being on board with me and to help me during this whole journey. Well, something that I didn't mention, but I think it's really important, is to make a contract between the co-founders before starting the company. That includes cliff clauses and vesting clauses. And for people who don't know what cliff and vesting are, what it means is that you don't get all your shares when you join the company. So if you imagine three founders that split equally the shares among the three of them, everybody should get 33.3 periodic shares. And if some of them leaves after 2 months, he still gets the 33, while the others can get them back. That's what happens if you don't have a contract among the funders before.
Yeah.
So something that is really important is to put a cliff. That means that you don't get anything if you leave before maybe say six months. So if one of the co-founders leaves between the founding and the 6th month, he doesn't get anything.
Yeah.
That's a cliff.
That's right.
While the vesting is, you decide how much time you require them to work at the company to gain the full share they deserve. So you can say you need to work 3 years. So the shares are split in 6 years. So after 3 years, if they leave, then they get only a half of what was being promised at the beginning. So only 16% of something in our case. In this case, that's something that's really important, because the people change. You don't know how things are going to work out after 2 years, and you don't want them to go away with the same shares you have without them contributing in the company any longer. So sign something at the very beginning that states how much they have, and you also have to work in the company to get the shares, both cliff and vesting. Also no competition agreements. So if they leave, they cannot start a company that does the same thing. The property of the intellectual property with the owner, all of those have to be very clear from the very beginning, because otherwise things can explode during really important phases of your company. So, and you don't want that. So it's better to be clear from the beginning.
Thanks.
Are you planning to technologically evolve your device and adding new features? Yes, we are planning to technologically evolve our device on the hardware, so it's not going to be as you have seen it so far in the slides. It's going to be smaller, lighter, better in general. While for the features, the one I just described is the possibility to sync it to the cloud. So that's the main feature we're going to add right after all the others are done.
Okay, so I think we are running out of time, and so maybe the last question, just the last question to close the presentation. Like, let's say, for example, I'm a student, I'm a first-year student, and I have an ideas and I want to be an entrepreneur. So what's the next step I can take? Like, or maybe the next 3 steps that I can take?
You have to first talk about your idea to see whether it's really something that can become a company or a startup. So first you need to validate whether it's worth investing time or money in that idea. So first you talk about it. Then, and you can do it to friends, to mentors, There are a lot of networks that provide free mentorships, like also the entrepreneurship network from EMA. I am a mentor myself. Then after that, you find the co-founders and some people that can provide the knowledge that you don't have and that can help you in making the final product. And then after that, you also find the funding. That's right after. Unless you can provide them yourself, that would be better. Or if you are making something that doesn't require funding for the beginning, so make it if it's some app, or if it's something that stays in the cloud, so it's just software, you may not require fundings from the very beginning. There are Amazon or SoftLayer or Microsoft Azure that provide you free credits to develop your idea. They're not real money, but they allows you to make your product for free for 10 months maybe. So if you have all the knowledge spread among your co-founders, and you don't need funding, that's even better. You're bootstrapping and you're getting all the shares. Gives it much more value to the company.
Okay.
So
think...
in that case, don't need the funding. Then the third step is you create the product.
Okay. So it's like you need a prototype before you go for funding. Go looking for funding, right?
It depends on at which stage. If it's a grant or it's an early stage accelerator, it can be just a proof of concept, a validation of the market, so some market research, and proving that you are able to create the product eventually. You don't have to have the final product when you're raising pre-seed money from accelerators or grants or prizes for ideas, as it happened to us.
Okay. So thank you so much, Saverio. It's really a pleasure to have you here. And I hope all of our audience will learn from you and maybe reach out from you about your products. And yeah. And that's it. Thank you so much again, Saverio. And
thank you for this opportunity and to everybody for nice questions.
Yes. And just to end the webinars, so just some tell you something that webinar is recorded, and please feel free to join the Entrepreneur Network in linking group Entrepreneur Network, and also try to fill out the surveys if you're not yet to. Thank you so much thank you so much for filling out the survey. And also let me send you the link. Thank you so much. And I think that's it. And please, if anyone have any questions about Entrepreneur Network or even about Saverio, about Horus Technology, please feel free to reach out to me with this email. So thanks again. And I wish you all have a nice weekend. Bye.